I mean, I think that's okay looking, but would you go back to the previous screen? Isn't that nice? That's really, really pretty.
There's actually a porpoise or something in the background. This is a king salmon beach this week.
King salmon? This
Yeah.
week? Wow.
It's anchovies, I believe.
That's what I said.
Well, thank you for taking the initiative to add yet another piece of niceness to our presentation. So, see, now this looks like we're slumming it. I like the video. Anyway, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. Are we Zooming today? We are Zooming. Okay. I know they were having some trouble with Zoom before. So welcome, Zoomers. Welcome, everybody who's here. Welcome, guests, first-timers. Nice to have everybody here. I'm Scott. I'll be your host for the next couple of minutes. And yes, I really do exist, despite what was said last week. But I'll get onto that in a second. I know. I wanted to just build the anticipation.
I thought it was so neat to just run right in.
Well, yeah. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, we always begin our service by acknowledging the land on which we are located. So, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities through most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today. And interesting thing about the fact that we do this, I was speaking with my son who lives in Texas yesterday, and who will actually be coming up here to live with me, for the last 3 months of the year before he follows a lady up to Canada. So for the first time in about 20 years, both my sons and I will all be together. But anyway, he was talking about, he goes, there's this new trend in Texas that's happening where people are starting to acknowledge the land they're located on. And I thought, wow, in Texas, it's very different than what I said. That's everywhere here. We begin our service that way. He said, well, that's really cool. They don't do that in Texas. He goes, nope, not very much at all. What we will do now is we will say our opening meditation together, and I always like to shake it up a little bit at the bottom. And what we will do at the bottom is, instead of saying to somebody, I honor the path that brought you here this morning, we will simply say, good morning, I'm glad you're here. Just a nice, simple, sincere greeting. So together we say, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. And I'm really delighted that you are here. Welcome to the sermon. All right, here's what is coming up over the week. Just a quick overview. We'll go into a little bit more detail in a moment. So let's go ahead and do that. We still could use some help with our mural design. And you've probably noticed that our wall, what would that be? Our east-facing wall, parking lot wall, has now got a beautiful mural that has come together because of so many people donating to it. So this is our request again to donate. If you have donated, please donate more. We would like, just being honest, what do you expect me to say? If you have donated, that's enough, you're done. No, we want more. But we want more because what Lacey was, is that the, okay. Because Lacey went above and beyond what she was paid to do. For example, the whole overhang, she was not asked to do that. So she did all of that to complete the project. That was at her own time and energy. And she put a cat on the wall for Angelica, which was not requested. So we would like to actually raise a little bit more money to give Lacey a bonus, if you will. And the way you can help is all you do is pick a square, $22 per square. You put your initials on it, write your name down here, and then give us a check or whatever it might be. And in the notation line, just put down mural. As we're continuing to raise money to bring that mural up. I've had several people, and I imagine you have too, who have seen the mural for the first time who have nothing to do with our center and just say, wow, that is really beautiful. My son was coming by and he said, wow, what you guys did to the center was just amazing. So a little piece of beauty. We talked in our meditation today about finding beauty wherever you can. You're welcome to sit in our parking lot and find it by staring at our wall.
How, do we know how many squares are left for taking?
I don't, but too many. Let's see, I'm not going to count them, but it looks like probably about 2 dozen.
24, that's good though.
Yeah, no, we've done very, very well. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to be ungrateful. What's the matter with you lagabouts? But no. We just want.
Glad you say that.
I'm the chief officer of anti-lagaboutism. Okay, let's see what's coming up. We have got a new class that begins, is that this Wednesday? Oh my God, we're almost through August. Good Lord. When fear speaks, listen. And Angelica, you'll be doing the class, I presume? Okay. So if you would like more information about it, you can get the books on Amazon, or you can ask Reverend Angelica to order. Do we have a sign-up sheet? The lovely and talented James is now showing the clipboard with the sign-up sheet. It's the white one without the lines. I am just dropping stuff everywhere. Okay. Let's see what comes up. Too far. Redwood Pride Pancake Breakfast, our last one of the season, will be next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We were out, we went to the Oban Festival, we went Friday Night Market, and I forget where else we went, and Queer Humboldt was there. And I got to win these really cool rainbow ducks. Is Queer Humboldt, Marianne was asking, my wife, is Queer Humboldt associated with this? Do we know? We don't know. It's just the Redwood Pride. Yes.
So I went, I think it was last month, very good food, they have a lot of variety.
Okay.
People like vegan and gluten intolerant, so it was nice. I mean, there's
Wonderful. Bree was saying that she went, and it's very good food, a lot of variety, vegan and otherwise. Pearl.
Plus the buffet. Serve yourself as much or as little as you want.
Okay, so it's a buffet. Serve yourself as much or as little as you want. Bring a backpack, put more pancakes in it, yeah. What was that, Pearl?
Had various types of drinks and coffee.
Okay, wonderful. So that's next Saturday, and it's the last one of the season. Here. Yeah, in the social hall. Speaking of coming up with food, the center, our 40th anniversary will be 20 days from now, I guess that would be. That is the 40th anniversary. It's a potluck, music by the Anna Hamilton Trio, and the Anna Hamilton Trio is not here today, nor is Anna Hamilton for that matter. But for more information, you can see the email address there if you can't read it. It's eureka1049@gmail. I believe that's Walk in Oz or email address.
We have cards here too.
And we have cards. Oh,
Let me say something.
please do.
We had wonderful cards printed so that we could send them to people who used to come and don't come anymore, but, you know, it doesn't matter why they don't come anymore, but, so if you know of somebody that you'd like to give a postcard to, there's a few of them over there. The other thing is that part of it is barbecue, and I don't barbecue, but I have a barbecue. So I'm gonna ask somebody with a truck to help get it from my house to here, and then it'll probably stay here because I'm sort of a pescatarian. I don't do fish on the barbecue. But who really likes to barbecue? I mean, to stand there and do it. Lance, yay! Well, I'll have to talk to you. Would you be willing to do some barbecuing that afternoon? Oh, cool. Well, very good. The rest of the meal is potluck. The other thing we're going to need is Saturday before it starts, some people to take the tables out from the social hall and put them out on the lawn, tables and chairs. So let me know if you're up to helping. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
And we have now manifested a master of barbecue. See how easy the philosophy is? This is still going on. If you would like to receive a phone call every morning about the What time was that?
It's at 7 o'clock now instead.
Yeah, so this is I don't want to say it's misleading. I misunderstood it, and I think a few other people did. I thought when I signed up for it, I would get a text message every day. which is what I was looking for. This is free. It is not a text message. It is a phone call, which is not what I wanted, so I removed myself from their list. You have to call them to do that. But it's a great thing. I've talked to other people who are using it who absolutely love it. Mark?
Is it actually like a robocall, or someone's actually calling all those people and talking to them?
Somebody records.
Yeah, it's a recording. Yeah. I picture somebody sitting there going, all right, 113 down, 45 to go. Oh, damn, I forgot. Did I call that one already? Oh, geez, I got to start over. But
There's about 500 people.
is that what the number is? Yeah. Okay, our bookstore, August sale, great summer reading. All used books are $1 off. That, of course, is in the other room if you want to. If you see the books against the window, you'd like to buy one, find somebody who can help you. Usually, I believe it's Michele. Is that correct? So Michelle's sitting over here, but she would be glad to help you. Speaking of help, we need help when visitors come or if people come the first time, and again, welcome, we have several people today who it's their first time. If they are interested in what we're about, we have these little packets that are sitting out on the counter there. And it takes a few moments every week to stuff them, to create them. So Susan's been doing them pretty much by herself. If you would like to help Susan, please reach out to Susan. Susan, raise your hand for people who don't know who you are.
Want to say anything about it? Yes, I do.
Okay?
You don't get to have it all to yourself.
I don't want it all to myself.
You know, we're always asking for volunteers. This is something that somebody can do on their own time, in their own space. If you have a copier at home, it's a piece of cake. You just do it. You just have to make sure. These are what the little guest packets look like. And there's different items in it. There's a welcome letter from Angelica. There's the current newsletter. There's 4 brochures, 2 about us, 2 about Science of Mind, a prayer request, and a magazine with a bookmark with Ernest Holmes, my favorite quote of Ernest Holmes. See, you get to choose your favorite quote. My quote is, "I believe in a religion of happiness and joy. Religion should be like the morning sun sending forth its rays of light. It should be like the falling dew covering the land with fragrance and sweetness, like the cool of evening and repose of night. It should be a spontaneous song of joy." That's why it's my favorite. So I usually, just a minute, Tiffany. Are you she's doing it. Okay, thank you. No questions needed. Tiffany will do it. Thank you very much.
No problem. I'm a huge fan of yours, so.
Well, I think it's a great thing too, because it's a way for us to reach out to newcomers, tell them, who we are and what we stand for, and you don't have to get in somebody's face and go, okay, this is what we do. You can let them do it on their own time.
I want to say something.
Please.
Talking about needing help. For quite a few months now, I have had in our newsletter, both the monthly one and the Monday one, the fact that Randy would like to have some help with sound. So Anna is one of the persons that has showed up to help, but she's not here all the time. If she has a big gig the night before, she stays in bed, I guess. But no, she goes to St. Mattress. Anyway, I know that Randy has been doing sound for at least 10 years. That's how long I've been here, and he's always been doing it. I know that he does it, that Brian helps as well, so that's good. But we need some more people to step up and learn how to do it, and, it's
I can do it once a month.
cool, very cool. So that'd be great. I think it would be wonderful if there was 4 people a month that helped out. So, so one person didn't have to do it all the time. So, one of the things that we do here is we are a welcoming community, and we are the community, or if somebody says something about the church is not this building. The church is us, each one of us. And so we're doing this together. We're creating something really powerful and magnificent in the larger community together. And so this is your invitation to help, in particular with these two things. And there's also a sign-up sheet over there for other things that need help with. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Angelica. Thank you, Lyndon, for volunteering. Who makes the coffee? Randy does? Oh, all right, and Randy also makes the coffee. Up next on the slideshow is, do you have an idea for an event? Better Together is our social club founded by Rose. I thought I saw Rose here. Oh, over there. I was like, I saw your face go by. Did you want to say anything about Better Together, or just tell people that you're looking for ideas?
Thursday, yes, you do want to say something.
Okay, well, I sent this.
From up here, please. Up here.
We want you on camera.
So good morning. So this coming Thursday is going to be the last free concert down at the Bayfront. And we're inviting everybody to come out and bring a chair with you. The music will be from 6 to 8. And the genre will be rock/country covers. The band has got a good rating. And our minister has promised to dance the night away there.
At least until
That-
8 o'clock.
At least until 8 o'clock. So bring a chair with you so you can sit down and enjoy the music or stand up and dance.
Thank you, Rose. And it is free. And I love the definition of dance the night away now ends at 8 o'clock. When did we get this old? Okay, let's see what comes up next. Ta-da! The little pantry needs to be fed. Believe it or not, we do need ramen now. And I know that's weird, so now we're going to have a glut of ramen, I'm sure. It was also requested by Lori that we get donations of, what are these? They're called milk, but there's this, they're shelf-stable milk. And people were asking what that is. So this is what one looks like. They come in a case, and each of them has a little straw, and they're available at Costco. And then what Lori was telling me is they package them with oatmeal. So somebody can have oatmeal.
Actually, I put them with oatmeal in the food bin.
Oh, that's what I meant, is they meaning you or whoever's doing that. They're put out there in our pantry. Our little pantry empties really quickly. So please continue to feed it. There is obviously a high need for people needing food in our area. So this is one of the things that is requested, but anything you can provide that is non-perishable, preferably with a pop top, but not necessarily required. And I think that's it, short of an explanation here. So they're calling this my great adventure. So I wanted to explain a little bit what happened last week, and thank you all for the support. I know I've mentioned this story, but last year I decided for whatever reason to run a 5K, and I've never been a runner. So I have been training since last December, a couple of setbacks due to COVID and a lung infection, but just decided I would do it. And the Humboldt Bay Marathon organization, whatever they're called, these people, Humboldt Bay Marathon, they were supposed to have a 5K and they didn't have one. So I was disappointed because they had said they were going to. So they set up one specifically for me. And it was last week with everybody else. The marathon runners all left at 7 a.m. to run 26 miles. The half marathon runners all left at 8 a.m. to run 13.1 miles. And the 5K runners, me, left at 9:45 to run 3.1 miles. I was in my own class, as I spend most of my life that way. I came in, I came in second. Just kidding. but I completed it, and so I was very proud, and rightly so. And as we were coming home, it was about 11:15, And I thought, well, I'll stop by, still dressed in my runner's garb and all of that. And James was here. You were in the middle of, I guess it was Angelica's treatment. And I thought, well, I would just walk in and say how it went. And the door was closed, and James came out and saw me and said, all right. And I said, I'll wait a few minutes. And then it just felt, I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but yes, I can feel like I'm too much the center of attention at times. It does happen, and I just felt that would be wrong to just walk in. And I didn't tell James, and I left, and apparently James introduced me, and everybody was all ready to applaud, which I appreciate. But I left. But I did get some awards, so I was pleased. It's just kind of like show and tell. There you go. Ta-da. And I got this. I was number 1. That was my bib. And it was funny because there all these people, the vast majority of these people they're marathon runners. These people, there was 250 of them. They know what they're doing. They're running up and down the trail, and I'm running. And I was surprised at how encouraging everybody was on this trail. I mean, you're running and people are going, you can do it, way to go, I got your back. And they're yelling it at each other, not just at me. And it was just the most empowering, delightful experience. Even though I didn't run the whole thing, I kind of walked it. But I was just pleased. So Marianne, my wife, made this little 57-second video of my story. So I'll play this here if I think I can do it. Excuse me? 57 seconds. Yeah. So thank you for letting me share this big event in my life, and here we go.
So she's gonna make
These are a series of stills, me coming back.
There was one entry in the special Scott's 5K race. So he approached us because he's turning 70 soon and just started running recently and wondered if we had a 5K. And at first I said no, and then I heard his story and I said, of course we do. It's a Scott 5K.
So that was my great adventure. Thank you for letting me share it with my extended family. I really appreciate it. And now I am wearing an entire leg sleeve because I can barely stand up. But I am affirming that my leg will get better soon. But yes, it was quite the adventure. And then she wrote me, that's Terry Vroman Little, who runs the Humboldt Bay Marathon. She said, see you next year in the half marathon. And I don't have the guts to tell her she's not going to, but I'll just let her believe. Okay, let us move forward now. Thank you. So this month's theme is power, and our message of our moment of peace will be from Michele with music by Jackson. Thank you, Michele.
I don't know. He was looking pretty fresh on Sunday. We went on the Matticat cruise, and we saw Scott, and he looked good. I think half marathon's in your future. All right, well, now's the time that we start the meat of the service. And so for those that are new, this moment of peace gives a practitioner a chance to read something from a Science of Mind minister or somebody else that we feel is empowering. And then there's a couple moments of silence, and then Jackson will play some music, and we'll have what we call an affirmative prayer, which is also known as a prayer treatment. And then we'll get to the main message with Reverend Angelica. So if you just allow yourself to just take a couple of deep breaths, center yourself where you are in your chair. This short reading is from Reverend Jesse Jennings, who's from Houston. And then the last sentence is actually from Dr. Ernest Holmes. To think is to create. This is really the key that opens the doorway to wisdom and power. That doorway is already within you. Somewhere within you, the mind of God reveals this truth, that you were born free, that the will of God for you is one of goodness, truth, and beauty, that all the power there is for you, and all the will there is wills life. You are the image and the likeness of this life. You are the personification of it. You are the personality of God. The kingdom of heaven is already within you, and the law of that kingdom is harmony, peace, and joy. And as we come together this morning, just breathe into that knowledge that we are harmony, peace, and joy. That is what spirit is, and spirit is within each and every one of us, within all beings. And that harmony, that peace, that joy infuses each and every cell of our bodies. And with this knowledge, I know that as we come together today, that the right and perfect words will be there for each and every one of us to hear, and for us to take into our hearts and manifest into our lives and out into the world around us. And I know that the beauty and the harmony of nature resides within, because that is also a part of each of us. And I know this service unfolds in its right and perfect way, and so it is.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still. still and know.
All right, and now I'd like to welcome up Reverend Angelica.
Thank you, Michelle and Jackson. That was perfect. So good morning, everyone. And good morning, Zoomers. It's good to have people here this morning. Oh, that was a nice little picture of this Humboldt Bay thing. It's interesting, since we've gotten our mural on the side of our building, I have noticed so many other murals around town. I mean, this one is on one of the struts or legs or whatever we want to call it to the bridge. This one is on one of the legs to a bridge, so pretty amazing. So this month, as you saw earlier, we've been talking about power. We talked about the power of forgiveness. We talked about the power of change. And today we're going to look at the power of resilience. I like that word. It sort of flows out. And I had to, of course, go and look at the definition. And the definition of resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties and to adapt in the face of adversity, or you might say to bounce back. And I think that I was trying to find an illustration of this idea of resilience, and the thing that came to my mind the strongest was a tree. In particular, the banyan tree that's on Maui, and that has been a symbol of hope and growth and strength and the Hawaiian traditions for so long. I mean, this tree, if you haven't been there, this tree covers like practically a city block. I mean, it's huge, just huge. And it was one of the things during the fire that they had recently that was the hardest for many of the native people to handle. The fact that that tree looked like it had been burned to a crisp. Well, I saw a picture yesterday of that tree, and it looks wonderful. It's going green everywhere, has all these new green leaves and shoots and everything. And I thought, yes, here's something that went through a tremendously horrible experience and then bounced back, right? It's back. And I think that one of the things that it did was awaken to a lot of people, particularly on Maui, the meaning of this tree, the things that it meant to them, and how resilience is possible absolutely anywhere. So I, of course, am looking at resilience as a spiritual quality. And I know that it's a psychological trait, but everything to me is spiritual. So in resilience in us, my way of thinking about resilience is that there needs to be a sense of trust. A sense of trust, you might say, in a higher power, though I don't want to, part of my using the words higher power means that there's just one thing out there. And if you've heard me talk before, you know that I believe that this higher power is really an energy that is absolutely everywhere. There isn't any place where it is not, this divine energy. And this energy is both unconditional love and infinite intelligence. And it's in me, it's in you, it's in this podium, it's in the chairs that you're sitting on, it's in absolutely everything. This wonderful, infinite intelligence, unconditionally loving energy. So in other words, we have to trust in that. I remember one day listening to something on the radio, or I had taped something or whatever, but I was in my car, And I was going through some stuff, you know how your mind goes, and then you go, no, I don't want to go there. I just want to be at peace. And, you know, it takes a while to get out of that. And somebody on whatever I was playing, either, you know, off of my phone or on the radio, said something about this idea that this divine energy being everywhere present means that you could touch anything and ask for support. So I walked into my house, and I'm thinking, well, that's kind of crazy. And yet, you know, and I'm heading for the bathroom, which means I have to go into my bedroom. And so there's the door lintel. So I thought, okay. I just put my hands on the door lintels and thought, I need the support of getting out of my mind, getting out of this rat race that my mind wants to keep going into all these thoughts. I just need support. And such a feeling of peace came over me that I'm looking at the door going, oh yeah? Wow. And those of you who are gardeners have probably experienced that as well, where you're feeling frustrated about something and you go out to look at your flowers or your vegetables or whatever, and you feel that same sense of peace come over you in the garden. Or you take a walk in the forest. You know, it's no wonder that the Japanese have a practice that they consider a spiritual practice called Shinrin Yoshu. I'm not sure I said the second word right, but it's translated to forest bathing. And I remember when I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia, I lived right by Elizabeth Park, and I would go walking in there all the time, and I realized that on Sundays, it seemed to be the day that the Japanese people went and did walks and had a picnic. And then I had learned about forest bathing, and I thought, wow, you know, a lot of people really do this. And then I started investigating it because I'm like a cat, I'm curious about everything. So I started investigating it, and I realized that trees put out some sort of phyto something or others that is a chemical that we then breathe in that creates a sense of harmony and balance in us. And I thought, wow. You know, it just is amazing to me in this idea of divine energy, of God, so to speak, being everywhere, that everything is here for our good. Everything supports us. And in turn, we support everything as well, hopefully. So in other words, it's a belief in the inherent goodness of the universe. And also, there's a quality of resilience for me in that whole idea of bouncing back, that we're never given more than we can handle. And I know from being a sickly kid and then having a weird kidney thing as a young adult that was going to need surgery and all that kind of stuff. And I had just gotten into the science of mind, and I marched myself into Dr. Leo Fishbeck's office after I'd gotten this notice from the doctor and told him the story, and he treated for me. And then he sent me over to his wife, who was his assistant minister, and she asked me a question that then made me start thinking in a different way. She asked me, why are you punishing yourself? I thought, oh my God, what does that mean? And of course, I had to look at it and realize that there was a part of me as a child that was punished all the time, so I felt, I guess, that I had to carry it on. But I had this, going through that disease and then having the healing made me realize that this idea that there's never more, you're never given more than you can handle, is really a truth. Though we don't necessarily believe it because of what we're told. In my case, it was what I was told by the medical field. You know, if I didn't have this surgery, blah, 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 you know, it's just gonna get worse, I was probably gonna die. You know, you tell that to a 21-year-old, I mean, you know, that's not good. And it's really hard not to buy into it because we give our power away to other people, don't we? So this whole idea of resilience. Dr. Holmes said, the spirit is not separated from its creation, but is ever incarnated in us. Ever incarnated. That means that each one of us is an embodiment of this divine energy that we're talking about. And because we are an expression of divine spirit, we have within us already the resilience necessary, or the ability to bounce back from absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. And so to think about this, to allow this to be in us and to have trust in it, we have to have faith as our foundation. Not our old stories or what we've been told as we're growing up, but a faith in something that is greater than we are, a power for good in the universe that is greater than we are, and we can use it. That's one of my favorite Dr. Holmes quotes. A power for good in the universe. So that means absolutely every little atom, every little neutron that makes up the atoms, everything is supporting us in being what we want to be. Everything. Because all of it is power, right? All of it is this energy that's greater than we are. And we get to use it all the time. So how do we use it? We use it through our thinking and our feeling. If we buy into something, if we get a case of isn't it awfuls, then, and that is something that just keeps playing and playing and playing over and over again, the universe goes, oh, she really likes that isn't it awful stuff, I'll give her some more. So we have to this teaching is a job. It's work. But as you work it, it gets easier and easier and easier. So how do you work it? You work it with prayer and meditation. You allow yourself to have a spiritual practice. And I thought about some other things, some practical steps to cultivate resilience. So one of them for me is positive thinking. So I've said this before as well to you. Set aside a part of this amazing mind to be the one that reminds you gently, easily, and humorously when you're going down a path that isn't conducive to your higher good. So I'll be running down one of those paths in my mind, and something will happen that makes me laugh. And then it's like, oh, okay, I got it. I'm not going down the right path. So positive thinking, and you can do it through affirmations, through gratitude practices, to focusing on solutions, really knowing what you want instead of what you don't want. I know other practitioners can affirm this with me as well, that sometimes we sit with someone and they tell us their story, and I might say, and what do you want? Well, I don't want blah, 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 blah. I got that. What do you want? Well, I don't want. We just keep thinking about what we don't want. And the universe doesn't hear that, I don't want it. It just hears, I want. So we work on creating a new ending, a new focus. We focus on solutions rather than the problems. And as we do this, that strengthens our resilience. Another thing I thought of was community support. Being in a community of like-minded people, going to classes. People have told me for years that being in a class with other people has really helped them move forward in their lives because they've made new friends, they've gotten new understandings about things through other people's ideas that come through, etc. So being supportive, being surrounded by a loving and supportive community can provide strength and encouragement as you're moving down your path, going through a tough time. And the other thing I thought that's really important is self-care. And when I think of self-care, I think of it as physically, emotionally, and mentally. Not only do we have to do our work and figure out what we've been thinking and how we would like to think, but we have to feel. We really have to feel. If you're feeling sad, you let yourself feel sad. If you're feeling mad, let yourself feel mad. My teacher, Reverend Harold Street, says, give yourself 15 minutes. Want to be mad? Be mad for 15 minutes. Want to be sad? Be sad for 15 minutes, and then let it go, right? Let it go. Physically, of course, we need to have rest. We need to eat good foods. Part of self-care for me is going and getting a massage, all the areas of our life need self-care. So then I was thinking, how I like to tell stories. Well, I was thinking of what story to tell about resilience. And the first thing that came to my mind was the Paradise Fire. I know when it happened, we were really fortunate that we had saved a whole bunch of stuff for Twice Nice. And the council decided at that point that we would open the doors and give stuff away to anybody who had experienced losing their home, etc. And so we got to talk to a lot of different people who somehow found out that we were doing this and came and got stuff. And it was amazing because there were single parents, there were people that had just overcome illness, there were different kinds of stories there that were really hard stories. And I know that losing your home and everything in it, I don't know what I would do. In fact, after that Paradise Fire, I went home and I thought, okay, what would I grab if I was suddenly told that I had to be out in 10 minutes? I'd take my laptop and my cats and probably a couple outfits to wear, Yeah, clean underwear, right. But the fact that I was talking to somebody on the phone the other day, and their parents were rebuilding their house up in Paradise. And apparently that's happened quite a bit. It seems to be taking longer than it should, but there is a sense of resilience there. And we had a church up there that the only thing that I believe was left from the pictures, if I can remember, was a peace pole. And I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. So if you look around in your life, I'm sure that you've all got heroes that have really had to be resilient because of the experiences they've had in their lives. The one thing that bothers me a little bit about this idea, talking about resilience, is I'm not asking the universe to let me have an example. I don't want any adversity to show up in my life. I absolutely choose resilience as a choice right now. Right? This is the way it works. Whatever you're focusing on shows up in your life. Another quote that I like from Dr. Holmes, he says, "The universe is impersonal. It gives alike to all, It is no respecter of persons. It values each alike. Its nature is to impart, ours is to receive. So this idea of resilience comes from understanding the laws of nature and our ability to align with them, no matter what the circumstances. No matter what. What I know is that sometimes adversity brings growth. Well, not sometimes, all the time. Adversity brings mental, emotional, and physical growth. But we don't need to create it to do that, to have it. And if we have created it, let's allow ourselves to really step into that idea of being resilient, that idea of being able to bounce back. So this week, I want you to really embrace resilience in your life. Because what I know for sure is that we have the power within us to overcome absolutely any challenge. Absolutely any challenge. You might be thinking, yeah, but what if somebody's really sick and they're dying? Well, dying is not a bad thing. We're all going to do it. We're all afraid of it, too. So what I know is that for us to manifest resilience in even moving through a really bad disease, it would be to be able to totally rely upon the presence and power of Spirit. I had an experience with a young man who was dying of AIDS, and I would go over and visit him once a week towards the ending of his life. And it was really interesting to me because after he died, right before he died, he told his partner that an angel had been coming and visiting him. And because of that, he was no longer afraid. And I thought, wow. When Helen Street gave me the name Angelica, she did a good job. So, this is what I know for us. We're going to go into treatment, and then we'll do the affirmations so our musician can move right into it without having to come out of the treatment. And for those of you who are new, treatment is, Dr. Holmes, the founder of our tradition, originally called it spiritual mind treatment because he believed that everything happened in mind, and the only way you could really heal it was spiritually. So it has 5 aspects to it, which you can ask me about later. And I'm going to speak it in the first person, because when I do that, I'm knowing that then you can take it in to yourself as if you were speaking it. So take a breath. I recognize that there is only this one power, this power for good, this power that is infinitely intelligent and unconditionally loving, this power that is within every single thing there is, because it is all that there is. And so I celebrate my conscious awareness of this power and my connection with it, because I know that what I am, what every cell and atom of my body is an alignment or is an embodiment of this divine power. And so I celebrate knowing that, as Jackson sang earlier, who we are is God. And knowing this, I declare this week that each one of us begins to realize how resilient we are, how easily it is to bounce back into a place of feeling more joy and more love, more connected. No matter what is happening in our lives, whether it be financial or in a relationship or in the way we use our minds and hands creatively in this world, or in our bodies, we are able to bounce back into this place of absolutely knowing the highest good for ourselves. And life becomes more fun, life becomes more joy-filled, life becomes more love-filled. We feel supported and acknowledged, seen, and the whole universe is doing this for us. And so we celebrate this with every fiber of our being. And we know that not only are we resilient, but everything around us is resilient, especially this planet. This planet knows how to grow things. This planet knows how to repair itself. This planet is resilient in an amazing way. So I declare that everything on this planet, all the countries, all the people, all the water bodies, absolutely everything is also resilient. And we're all bouncing back into this greater idea of who and what we are. And we celebrate that with every fiber of our being. We're so grateful for this teaching and the support that we have in our community and the conscious awareness that we're constantly embodying that this too is good. This too is God. Everything is divine energy. And so gratefully I release this word into divine law, knowing that as it's been spoken, the whole universe has rushed forward to make this our reality. And so we celebrate today and every day this week in joyous gratitude for being resilient in spirit, as spirit. And so it is. And let's do our affirmation. Oops. Take a breath again. As I focus on the eternal truths of God, love, wisdom, strength, security, etc., my power of resilience is strengthened, seeing me through whatever situations may arise. And so it is. And thank you very much. Our musician this morning is Rick. Yay! Oh, is that supposed to be there?
Yes, the next slide. You can bring that up.
You can do it.
No, he said I couldn't.
Oh.
Oh, I can? Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, that's me when I was 11. And that's the biggest fish I ever caught. I never caught one bigger. And that man next to me is a neighbor named Bernie Truskalowski, and he was the best fisherman. I grew up in Minnesota next to 3 lakes, and this was the biggest lake, Lake de Montreville. And I usually just caught sunfish. They were about this big. They were great eating, but I wanted to catch a bass or a northern pike. And as you look back, after I learned how Science of Mind works, I looked back and thought, I was using Science of Mind that day because I so visualized what it would feel like to catch that fish. And I especially wanted to catch it that day, at that time, because the neighborhood was having a barbecue on our property on the lake. There's a little beach right there. And I just so wanted to catch a big fish and show it off, and they could clean it and put it on the barbecue. Fish is good barbecued. I'll show you how to do that. So when it happened, and Scott this morning during the meditation said, think of something that just really brought you joy. Scott, this was it. I was thinking of that right there. Also getting engaged to Lisa, my wife. Now, that's the biggest fish I ever caught. Bernie, on the other hand, that's the kind of fish Bernie would catch. Okay? Every day. That's a northern pike. Same lake, and I never caught one, and I really wanted to. You can see how heavy it is. I'm leaning back to counter the weight. If I'd known more about fish in pictures, I would have held it straight at the camera, but it's a big fish, okay? Never caught one. That's Bernie. So I wrote a song called Plastic Worms, and Lisa and I, with a couple more members, local members, went down to San Luis Obispo and gave a concert, and we gave out plastic worms. You can see I'm wearing one on my right shoulder there. That's a plastic worm. I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, "I like it in my ear." And Lisa was singing and playing bass. And the drummer, just a side note, was Ernie Earnshaw, and this is 41 years ago. I haven't changed a bit. And he's still playing locally, and most recently, he was playing with Les Craig, one of our beloved musicians, as the drummer in her band. And he's a monster drummer, as our lead guitarist described him. So, without further ado. Oh, thanks, James. We recorded this in a studio in Blue Lake, and I forget the name of it, Solar Tip. I think it was Solar Tip, with Bert Pechtold. And this was the most complex song we ever recorded. We had a banjo and a slide guitarist, and uh-oh, what just fell? Oh, okay. So, hopefully this is queued up right. I love the sound this makes when it warms up. Okay. And I'm going to sing along with it, with the full band. Lisa's singing with a couple other backup singers and playing bass. When I was 10 or 11, with my bamboo stick I'd run to the warm and wooden planks of Myers Dock out in the sun. Set my hook with a plastic worm that I saw on Channel 9. And I never understood why the fish never would come near my line. I never understood why the fish never would come near my line. Over in the next bay I could see old Bernie T. He always caught his limit and he never watched TV. Using plain old garden worms, the kind you get for free. He used to lure my bait. His face went straight and he said this to me. Saw my bait, his face went straight and he said this to me. He said, good weather will come in time. 10 pennies will make a dime. Gotta learn the words if you want to sing the song. Life ain't no escalator, it's one step at a time. And don't go putting no plastic worms on the end of your line. Don't go putting no plastic worms on the end of your line. Well, the years grew by and I grew high, and I tried to catch all the ladies' eyes by using every trick that I picked up from the guys who knew. Got a flashy car and a well-stocked bar, all the latest clothes, but I didn't get far as I drank my whiskey and I cried in my beer. Heard old Bernie's words in my ear. Drank my whiskey and I cried in my beer. Heard old Bernie's words in my ear. He said, good weather will come in time. 10 pennies will make a dime. Gotta learn the words if you want to sing the song. Life ain't no escalator, it's one step at a time. Don't go putting no plastic worms on the end of your line. Don't go putting no plastic worms on the end of your line. The other day old Bernie died. When I got the news I broke down and cried, 'cause of all the friends that I ever had, he was the only one that knew good from bad.
Sent a letter to his wife and his kids, said many's the time I was on the skids when I think of the words that he used to say. Let me put it another way. When I think of the words that he used to say, that man taught me how to pray. He say, good weather will come in time, 10 pennies will make a dime. Gotta learn the words if you want to sing the song. Life ain't no escalator, it's one step at a time. Don't go putting no plastic worms on the end of your line. Good weather will come in time, oh yeah, 10 pennies will make a dime. Gotta learn the words if you want to sing the song. Life ain't no escalator, it's one step at a time. Don't go putting no plastic worms on the end of your line. Thank you. Thank you.
What a delightful combination of humor, humanity, and inspiration. That was just wonderful. All right, as we move into the final segment of our service, now is the time for the sharing of our gifts. The plates will be passed. Put in it what you can. If you can't put in anything, you can always put in love. And whatever you put in, please put it in with intention. First of all, we will say our, hello, we won't say that. We could, but we won't. We will say our affirmation. Together we go. I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. Band, please. As we accept these gifts, we are grateful for the knowledge that everything is divine. Every atom, every smallest piece, every dollar that is donated, every being in this room is of the divine spirit. And so, therefore, are these gifts as they launch forward into the universe to provide a greater good for our community, for our city, for our state, and for all that it touches and beyond. And for that knowledge, I am incredibly grateful, and I say, and so it is. Thank you. A reminder, as we come to the end of our service here, we will be doing the community statement of inclusion in but a moment, which we ask somebody to come up and read this. Donna will lead us in the peace song. And what we have been doing is doing the peace song in a circle, as we used to do in days of yore, where we will all be in a giant circle facing each other. It's really, if you can handle it, because I'm one of these guys who cries at the drop of a hat, looking at somebody else while we're all singing is a very powerful emotional feeling. But Donna will lead us in that in a moment after the community statement of inclusion. If you would like to meet with a practitioner afterwards, there are several practitioners who are here today. Myself, Michele, Susan, Edward has shown up. Claudia, I think I saw Claudia come wandering in somewhere. There she is, out in the back. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Yeah, I said Susan, didn't I? We'll say Susan twice, because Susan will do twice as well as the rest of us. Okay, since we're already at 11:10, we're going to move forward into the community statement of inclusion. Is there a volunteer who would like to read this? Who do we have? Catherine. Yeah. I love your shirt.
Good morning. Thank you. Yeah. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates for people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. We know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Please join the circle. Well done, well done.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it